Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. When it comes to this event, I think it's fair to say it's one of the most grueling in the War Thunder calendar, and the fact that they've extended it has not made it easier. If anything, it's just made it so you realize that you have to grind more to get basically the same stuff. The fact that they've added in barriers in this one to actually kind of screw over people who use the market, which is basically the whole point of this event, should kind of show you the way that all of these events are going, where they're trying to make them harder, not just in the grind way, but also in just the overall way to kind of screw everybody and try and what they see as balance out the market to the grind, which can't really work since these events are inherently designed around the market. So let's go through a few things to actually make the damn thing fun. You know, that thing that we're supposed to be aiming towards when it comes to games, enjoyment, and having a good time. The first one is pretty simple, just being able to grind all the vehicles. Instead of having to use the market, even at a point where, you know, you have to play continuously to get everything, at least give people the opportunity to do so. Because right now, you just don't have that opportunity. So technically, this good old event is pay to win. Because if you want to get all the vehicles, if you want to get all the ones to add to your new lineups, then you can't if you just want to grind. And also on PlayStation and Xbox, you literally have to pay to be able to get the materials in order to grind all the vehicles. And then if you're on PC, you got to use the gadget market, which is still money at the end of the day that somebody else has put in. Maybe it isn't you, but it's still money in the system to push this idea. So that sucks. That really does. So even if they just double the time of the event, double the amount of resources that you can get, so instead of grinding, 12 days out of 13 to get the 2 top vehicles, maybe they made it so you could grind, well, what would it be? So it's 6 days per top tier vehicle, so that's 18. So 20 days out of 22, right? 20 days or 21 days out of 23. If they did something like that, then obviously it wouldn't be great because we'd still be at the point of view where you're just grinding every day for 75k, but still it would at least make the event feel correct, because you can either choose to pay or you can choose to play. That's the whole point of these systems, but this system is out of whack and has been since the start. Then just implementing challenges that are event long instead of 75k every day. I'm fine with the 75k stuff, but it can get dragging, and usually by this point of the event, we're on technically day 5 of the event, it really starts to drag on people what, they have to do. And 75k, unless you are playing, the meta stuff, or if you're playing in a specific way, then it doesn't really work very well, because you are just going to be sat there for 6 to 7 hours being able to grind this instead of doing it in like 2 or 3, which you can get other events done in. And it just kind of sucks, is probably the best way of putting it. So what I would do is the system that they use for Atomic Heart. So have this 75k if you want to, do it every 1 or 2 days if you want to, but every other day is a separate challenge which lasts for the rest of the event. The Atomic Heart event was really good for this. So they'll do one day, you need to get 20k, and then the next day it was like, get 20 kills with the laser cello. And then that would actually last until the end of the event. So you had the whole event to be able to do this, and it would give you, one of the points or one of the marks. I hope that this experiment gets used in a lot of these areas, not just with the winter event and the summer event, but also these Build-A-Bear events to try and improve it. Because doing the same thing every day and doing it the most efficiently every day, which most people have to do because they don't just have, a massive extended time to be able to do these events, is the way forward. Like, it's as simple as that. The way that I play these events, because I have a little bit of extra time, is I generally spade vehicles while doing it. But even right now, after spading a bunch of vehicles while doing it, I feel like the event is very much dragging, and we're only on, once again, day 5 out of 13. So it's going to be a tough one. You could also add automation to the creation for the workshop stuff, and you could either do this after a specific amount has been created, or maybe you could link it to a price of time or money or challenges. Maybe first places could be used for this. Right now, first places can be converted into a factory item, which lessens the amount of time it takes to make certain items. But if I'm honest with you, as a person who doesn't want to click buttons constantly for 10 minutes every 15 minutes, then what I would advise, or what I would like, is a system where after you've ground out the first or maybe second missile or whatever the next event is going to be, why not have a system where you can actually put in either some GE, or if you complete some challenges, or if you have a specific amount of first places, why not be able to automate the next one through? So it will automatically click to start and finish the parts that you need to create the thing. Maybe this takes a longer time. Maybe instead of it taking 10 minutes to be able to do it, now takes 20 minutes. But it just means that you don't have to be there to click on the damn buttons over and over again. Especially since once you've gone through it once, you know how the system works. So you're just repeating the same thing. You're in a circle constantly, which of course doesn't make people feel good. It's not nice doing the same thing over and over again, especially when you've worked out the system, because then it just becomes you being a robot clicking buttons, which is what's going on right now. So adding in something to automate that system, which should have been automated to start with anyway, would definitely help out. And once again, you don't have to put it in the first or second run of the missile. Maybe once again you do it like the factory setup, where you use certain resources to be able to automate one specific go through of the missile, which takes a bit longer. That would be a much better. Add supplementary stuff. I know there's a decal for the event that you get for successfully testing a missile, which is nice, but let's get some more stuff in, would you? Like some decorations, maybe a profile picture, maybe like a title saying, yeah, you did it, well done for creating the missile. Maybe just stuff that some people would be interested in along the way. That's the whole point of the other stuff for the summer and winter events, to try and keep people interested as you go. Right now, the only thing to keep you interested is testing the missile, and once you figure that out, which really doesn't take that long, then you have nothing to look forward to apart from clicking buttons over and over and over again of the same stuff over and over and over again. The reason why they added in the test the missile was to break it up a bit, which is fine. Unfortunately, when you hit the test the missile button, it tells you it every time has to run through that up-down space thing, which is just a complete waste of time, especially if you've done it before. And the main thing is also to slow you down from creating the product, because it makes it look like, you're creating less, because instead of having to put together, 64 things, or maybe, 46 things, what's ending up happening is you only have to put together 16, but then you have to test drive the missile before you can start that 16 again. So technically, it's completely slowed down the process of what's going on. So yeah, give some supplementary stuff to make this process seem at least a little bit bearable. Also, at the same time, give bonuses for using specific vehicles at specific times or days. So instead of just doing ranks and instead of just doing game modes, why not promote the use of certain vehicles, especially ones which are not exactly in the best state? I understand that this will lead to people playing weird and odd things, but you know what I prefer? I prefer that instead of everybody just playing the meta stuff all the time, to be able to grind the event out as quick as possible, because people do have lives and people do have jobs, people do have family, especially during these types of times. So why not add something in which is attached to vehicle types instead of attached just to rank, and then also just to the game mode. That's there you go. So the other thing is, as well, is actually take into account the changes that you've done to the game modes themselves in how you set up the multipliers. For example, for Aerialistic, at the higher echelons, you've massively increased the size of the maps. This basically means that there is a 5-minute/10-minute setup where you're not really doing anything apart from what you did previously, but maybe gives you a better opportunity to be able to set up on the enemy. This 5 or 10 minutes is very key when it comes to these crafting events, because you can't really get score in those, because you're just going to the battlefield and going head to head. It would be much better if you took that into account, therefore increase the multiplier on stuff like Air RB. You did the same thing with Air AB at high tier as well, pushing back the spawns, so therefore people can't missile each other straight away and get involved in dogfighting super quickly. Also at the same time, at high tier ground, all of the maps, or at least the vast majority of the maps, are pretty big as well. So you've increased the distance of the maps, which means that it takes longer to be able to get to an engagement, which means that there's less score to be had while you get there, because the score by time ratio is off. But unfortunately, the multipliers didn't change. That's why this event feels longer than other ones for many other people. Yes, you've added in the simulator part, and yes, people can just grind out simulator as they go around, but I mean, is that fun? No, probably not for a lot of people, and also it annoys the sim community because they want an authentic experience, but c'est la vie. The other one at the same time is consoles. So consoles just getting access to the market. This would be really nice. Obviously, I don't think it's actually on Gaijin's head to do this. I think the issue is actually on Microsoft and Sony's end. Hopefully, at some point, a resolution can be found for this, because it is a massive detriment to the console players, because they have to just pay money to be able to get access to stuff in this event. Also, at the same time, console getting some mechanism to increase the grind without paying money, whether it's once again in challenges, whether it's once again in using SL, but the fact that you need to use GE in order to get everything in these events is super sad for console players, because you just don't have another option. You can't grind stuff through the year and then sell it on the market. Instead, you just have to pay G, and that's it. So if you don't have the money, you don't get it. Simple as. And that's really sad, and once again would be solved by the fact that you should be able to grind everything in these setups. Then bring some form of unity or cooperative element, whether it's through squads or challenges. So maybe if you go by like the awards, maybe if you get like the best squad award, maybe if you get a lot of assists or a lot of teamworks or a lot of supporting fires, maybe then that can actually translate to something in the score element or in some other elements. So maybe you could create a challenge where it's like, if you get 50 teamworks, then you get a certain amount of mission score taken off of that day. Maybe if you get a certain amount of supporting fires, maybe that gives you a boost of, 1.5 times mission score for the event over a 10-game period. Maybe if you, are squadding up with people, maybe then, since, if you're squadding up with competence, usually what that means is there's going to be less mission score for individuals, but it will be balanced out across the board. But the main thing is maybe they just give you a little bit of a bonus for that. And even though it is easier to play in the squad, one of the things that I think is more important to understand is these events can be very isolating. Like, there will be people out there who are just grinding day in, day out to be able to get this, and they won't be talking to many people, they won't be doing too much, they won't be getting involved in, like, streams, or they won't be involved in getting content, they'll just be playing the game. And if you're grinding out 75k every day for 12 days straight, and you're not really talking to people, and you're just being isolated, maybe listening to music or something, it's going to be a really tough time. Because by the point of 8 or 9 days, you're going to start going psycho. And what I would prefer is if there were mechanisms in the game which actually promote a little bit of squad play, promote people coming together to be able to play together. Because in War Thunder, as we know, even though it's a PvP game, and it is a team versus team game, it's ran by individuals. And that doesn't feel great most of the time. So it would be nice to just have some kind of mechanic to improve that. And also just move back to mid-tier premiums instead of these high-tier event vehicles. I'm sick of these high-tier event vehicles, not just from the point of view that people have to grind them out and therefore they always are in a rough space, but the fact that they are just no good for most people, because the guys who grind them are usually the guys who don't have the experience at the high tiers, and then they end up just getting annihilated by a bunch of different people, and it's just no fun. So it screws up the matchmaker, it screws up the BRs of a bunch of vehicles around, and it gives cannon fodder to people to be able to hammer them. Mid-tier premiums are also more useful for making SL, making RP, making all of these different stuff for people. They're just much better, and it just sucks that we've gone towards this event idea instead of premium idea. Then also, at the same time, just straight up remove the event. Now, I know that sounds weird as an improvement, but hear me out. There are much better systems out there which can utilize these ideas, and they can be ongoing instead of just having these 2 events per year. You remove the event and you create a blueprint system. So every Battle Pass Warbond shop that has a blueprint in it for a vehicle. It could even be for more than one vehicle, maybe a ground vehicle and an aviation vehicle. Literally, right, so in these crafting events per year, you have 8 vehicles, right? Now, when it comes to Battle Passes per year, you only have 4 of them. So you could take these crafting event vehicles and put 2 of them in each Battle Pass. You stick them in the Warbond shops as blueprints. The blueprints you have to pay Warbonds for. Once you buy the blueprint, it gives you the workshop thing which opens up, like the tab that opens up, and then it gives you a bunch of parts in the workshop. Each part has a challenge connected to it. If you complete the challenges, you get the parts, and then after getting all of the parts, assembling them all together, hey presto, now you have the vehicle. So therefore, there is another reason to grind through the Battle Pass, and also at the same time, you could add in something in the Battle Pass where you could upgrade one of the vehicles with a coupon, so therefore you could sell it afterwards, or you could at the same time just make it so once you craft it, you get either a coupon for it or a full vehicle for it. So for me, this would be a much better system than the one that we have currently, because it is still connected to time, because it's connected to the battle pass, but it could be connected to the next one, so it gives you a little bit longer to do, and also gives more challenges for people to focus on. One of those challenges could easily be mission score that you do over time, and that obviously would be fine, but there'll be a bunch of other things to focus on too at the same time, so you could kind of mix and match what you generally do and what you generally play. So instead of people getting frustrated at this event and, getting annoyed, which is what's happening right now, why not try and change it so people have a slightly better time? As always, make sure to put your ideas and thoughts in the comment section so I can read through them and see what I can pass on. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Brendan Quinn, Vilneus, Character Fuel, Juan the Panda, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie, B. Young, Bareen, Peter Grayling, Alan Hacker, Sem Alslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R., and also Lafouche for supporting the channel.